Hello everyone! Today I wanted to talk about emotions and really feeling your emotions. The positive thinking movement, in my opinion, has caused some problems in that a lot of us has felt like we weren't to feel our emotions only if they're positive. If they were what we deemed negative, we were to shove them, to not think about them, not talk about them. And to me, that's been unfortunate in that it's very important to feel your emotions. And what we deem positive or negative, who makes these rules up? They're your emotions, and it's so important to feel them. And if you don't feel them, they get bottled up and held in your body. And that's, as a massage therapist, I see this all the time, that different areas of the body hold different emotions. And I think that it's been, no one's meant to do this, because of course you're not supposed to expand upon and talk about the things that don't feel good. And that's more about what it is. It's about feeling good versus the positive or negative. Because in my opinion, there is no such thing. There's no positive or negative. Because on my most positive day might be somebody's most negative. There's no such thing. That's still a judgment. That's still an opinion. There's things that feel better, and that's what we should strive for. And there's things that don't feel as good. Having said that, when we're angry, we need to acknowledge that we're angry. And it's, oh, I'm angry about this. And then you can move on. Because I have found that in the past, I have bottled that anger specifically, in that I could justify it in my head in that I shouldn't be feeling this because you know what, I've done that before, so-and-so doesn't know any better. There's all sorts of ways I could have justified why I shouldn't be angry about that specific thing or what a person did. But you know what, I was angry. And by not acknowledging it, not feeling it, just shoving it down, bottling it up, I ended up with some gallbladder issues, which is a major spot where specifically rage actually goes. So it's just something to think about, that just because you don't talk about it, you don't acknowledge it, it's still there. If you don't acknowledge your grief or your anger, it's still there. And it's not about being angry for the day and throwing and screaming and yelling. Although sometimes to start, I find that people need to do that because it's been so long they haven't addressed their emotions. And how can you work through and know what your emotions are and work through issues if you haven't even acknowledged what the emotions are? And we tend to have complex emotions that it's all a bunch of layers. And well, you know how when you lose your kid in the park and you're having this, oh my God, where is he, where is he, where is he? And when you find them, lots of times instead of running and scooping them up, you're yelling at them, where were you? Because that fear became anger quickly. And so that's where our emotions are complex. And if we don't experience them and acknowledge them is the big part, then they just build up. And then we have no idea. We have no idea what we're feeling. I'm always surprised as an empath when I feel clients' emotions. I always think, why would I have to tell them what they're feeling? They know it. They don't. And it's very, very surprising. How can they not know? How can you not know what you're feeling? But unless you actually acknowledge it, you don't know. It just sort of washes over you and it overwhelms you. So it's about feeling it just for 10 seconds. Acknowledging it. You know what? I'm really pissed off about this. Move on. Oh man, I'm really scared. And you don't have to say it out loud, but by not acknowledging it, and I'm not saying you have to write long stories about it or spend a lot of time with it, 10 seconds is all it takes. Just to at least be honest with yourself. And so many people I see, specifically parents, that are never acknowledging that anger that's just welling up under the surface with their children. And that doesn't mean you need to scream and yell at your children, but at least acknowledge that you're feeling a lot of emotions, and a lot of it is, I notice parents feeling resentful, which shouldn't feel as a parent, but you know what, you do. And I've had clients who, oh my gosh, I can't be angry at a person who's passed away. Well, you know what, you are. And I've had clients who, they've had some really crappy situations happen in their life, and they don't feel like they can be angry about it. You know what? I have yelled at whatever you want to call it, God, source, universe, whatever feels right for you, the all that is, you know, it's not like it's a surprise to them that you're super, super angry at the crap, whatever, that landed in your lap. It's okay. It's okay. You're feeling it. Acknowledge it, and then you can move on. Super important. And for your spiritual growth. And as you move further into it, you don't really, those emotions just come in and they go out. And you haven't blocked them, you haven't stopped them, you haven't bottled them. They just flow like the breathe, like your breath, which is what is supposed to happen. So acknowledge your feelings, take a deep breath, and you'll feel so much better. Thanks for listening.